Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ask JP. Let's take a question today from Girish Teja. Girish Teja is from Tirupati. He is studying B.Tech Electronics. Girish?
Namaste, sir. This is Girish Teja from Tirupati. Currently, I am pursuing my B.Tech in Electronics and Communication Engineering. I have a question regarding youth politics in India. Today, in the era of artificial intelligence, we can observe that there is lack of political intelligence and interest among the youth of India. Even youth considering politics as a subject that is not their cup of tea. And if we consider youth wings of many political parties, 90% of the youth wings are headed by sons and grandsons of those particular parties' supremos. So, what kind of incentives or encouragement should be provided to the youth today? And if so, we have to provide those incentives, where to start? So, a leader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. So, you are the leader who encouraged youth, intellectuals, and middle class by establishing a political party. So, I think I am asking the question to a right person like you, sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Girish. We claim that we have demographic dividend. We claim that a large proportion of India is young people. We claim that we have the largest young population in the world. And Girish is right. Despite all the talk, the youth have very little space in our politics. They are used only for the marginal tasks like, marching in a procession, raising slogans, and so on and so forth. And the few young people who are given real opportunity to lead or to contest, 90 to 95% of them are the sons and daughters of politicians. Nepotism, family rule, dynastic succession have become endemic almost all over the country in most of the political parties. That's a fact. That's not youth empowerment. That's a tragedy in the name of youth empowerment. So what do? There is no instant answer. First requirement for youth to really become prominent in political parties is this internal democracy. Now, why are now only certain families, certain individuals prominent in politics? Not because they are the best, but because they are picked up by those in power. Because they are picked up because of caste or family origin or money power or something else. Supposing the members of the political party, they actually decide who their candidates are. Take United States, there are actually primary elections whereby members vote by secret ballot and decide who their candidates are. Now, if they are bright young leaders who can inspire and influence and convince their party members, they may become leaders. So leadership will emerge through the process, through a democratic process within the party, instead of being anointed by the party bosses. So the first requirement is internal democracy in political parties. Take Britain. Even if there is no primary election like in America, there is an elected constituency committee. That committee of 70 or 80 members or leaders in the constituency sits there and interviews and selects the candidate. Rishi Sunak became the candidate in his constituency because the constituency committee chose him over others. So there is a meritocratic choice made by the party members or party leaders locally in a transparent democratic process. The second thing, you cannot become a leader suddenly at the state or national level, particularly in a large and diverse country. But unfortunately in India, our local governments are utterly weak. They're there on paper, but they're irrelevant in the most part. Even if elections are conducted in local governments also with great fanfare in panchayats and municipalities, in reality, it doesn't make a difference who is there. Supposing you actually make the local governments very powerful, effective in delivering, so that young leaders can emerge locally. You may not become influential overnight at the state and national level, but locally, really bright young people, by virtue of their leadership qualities and by some accomplishments, can be recognized by the community and become leaders. And once you become a leader locally, supposing you actually have the ability to make change happen, to deliver, to show to people what somebody like you can do, then you can rise subsequently. Once people recognize you as a leader at the local level, You have actually delivered some things, accomplished things. Your success there will now pave the track to rise in politics at the state and national level. Our local governments are among the weakest in the world. While local elections are held with great fanfare, we have long and verbose constitutional provisions. Our local governments are almost a parody, a farce. You cannot run a democracy without strong and empowered and accountable local governments. Once you do that, real talent and youth can emerge. The third is electoral reform. No matter who is the candidate today, in large parts of the country, elections means you have to distribute money to the voters. It is shameful, but it is true in large parts of the country. In some parts of the country, vast sums. Some other parts of the country, not so much, but everywhere the pattern, the trajectory is the same. Increasingly, you have to bribe the voters to come to the polling station and vote for you. It doesn't mean that if you spend a lot of money that way you get elected. But what it means is if you don't spend that kind of money, you have no chance in most cases. Your defeat is almost certain. Now, that is not the best way to choose any leader. And certainly youth will have less of a chance because they don't have that kind of money. But even if they have that kind of money, that is not what we want in democracy. Democracy is not about making somebody a leader to satisfy that fellow's aspirations. It's about making our system work for the people, the taxpayers. And our system today is not working for the people and the taxpayers. Let's be truthful. Therefore, electoral system change. And finally, the youth also must pay attention. While they must focus on their education, skills, employment, jobs, careers, and a good life, and they're entitled to that. You must lead a good life honestly, by the sweat of your brow, by utilizing your skills, by acquiring skills and applying those skills, by producing things of value, by being of value to fellow human beings, converting that into your life and your career and employment. But they also must focus on the collective needs of the community. That's what politics is about. What is our tax money? What are the things to be done? How to do it better? How to make sure that the services are delivered to people? How to ensure there's rule of law or education or healthcare or infrastructure or investment, etc., etc. If you equip yourself, if you really have the capacity to think, then you can have the capacity to lead because you can find solutions. Then you can inspire people. So I think all these four, internal democracy and political parties, strong local governments, electoral reform, and youth's own effort, not only youth, anybody who wants to play a political role, we must not see it as merely a position where we are important. The feudal notion of power must give way to real spirit of service, that I can make a difference for the collective goods and services. I have some ideas. These are not very crazy ideas. These are very thoughtful ideas because I have knowledge, I have experience, I have understanding. So that confidence, that strength, that ability must be imparted. Otherwise, youth or old age, male or female, whatever be the caste or region or religion, we will not really serve the people well. So all these four, if we do it, and we have bungled in many of these respects over the years, but they can be set right. If we understand, then we work for them, then certainly youth will play a better role. And the more competent people, public-spirited people who can transform the country and serve the people better, they will rise to the top.